March the 14th, 1944, 02:17 hours, 17,000 feet over Gütersloh airfield, northwestern Germany. Hauptmann Klaus Hoffmann, 26 years old, 41 confirmed kills, commander of 3.NJG-1, one of the Luftwaffe's elite night fighter units, banks his Messerschmitt Bf 110 into the landing circuit. His Liechtenstein BC radar operator, Oberfeldwebel Ernst Keller, veteran of 63 combat sorties, switches the radar to standby mode. Standard procedure. 3 minutes to touchdown. Hot coffee waiting in the dispersal hut. They never reach the threshold. At 02:19, a 3-second burst of 20mm cannon fire tears through the Messerschmitt's starboard engine. No warning, no visual contact, no radar return. The aircraft rolls inverted, impacts 200 meters short of the runway. Both crew dead. Wreckage burns until dawn. Subscribe to this channel if you believe it is our duty to preserve the stories of men who fought wars we can barely comprehend. This was the day the British proved they could turn the hunter into the hunted and make the Germans fear their own technology. Who killed Klaus Hoffmann, and why could he not see them coming? Hoffmann was not the first. He was number 87. Since January, experienced Luftwaffe night fighter crews had been vanishing, not over target cities, not during combat with bomber streams, but on their own ground, in their own airspace, during landing patterns, during patrol routes they had flown 500 times before. The mathematics were impossible. German night fighters held every advantage. They operated from interior lines. They knew every frequency, every approach vector, every blind spot in British tactics, yet something was killing them in the dark. Oberstleutnant Werner Streib, Commodore of NJG-1, reads the loss reports in his operations room at Venlo. His tone is flat, officer precise. 5 aircraft in 14 nights, all experienced crews. No distress calls, no contact reports, no wreckage containing foreign ammunition we don't recognize. His intelligence officer places another file on the desk. 6, Herr Oberstleutnant. Hoffmann's kite went in this morning. Streib looks at the map. Red pins marking loss locations form a pattern around the fighter bases protecting the Ruhr. He understands exactly what it means. They are not interdicting our missions, they are erasing our capability. This was not a lucky British raid, this was not a chance encounter in the night. This was systematic elimination. This was a new kind of warfare, invisible, surgical, relentless, and it was becoming routine. To understand what the British achieved, you must first understand what they faced. By early 1944, the Luftwaffe night fighter force represented Germany's most sophisticated defensive system. 4 years of brutal operational experience had forged a network that killed British bombers at rates approaching sustainability limits for RAF Bomber Command. The numbers were undeniable. In January 1944 alone, German night fighters accounted for 314 RAF heavy bombers destroyed, severing 2,098 trained aircrew from British order of battle. Replacement training required 18 months, operational life expectancy for a bomber crew 14 missions, tour length 30 missions. The mathematics favored Germany. Tell me in one word what the German night fighter force possessed in early 1944. Was it confidence? Or was it something more? The technology reinforced this advantage. Liechtenstein airborne radar gave German crews detection capability out to 4,000 meters. Ground control stations vectored fighters into bomber streams with precision. Schräge Musik upward-firing cannon allowed kills without visual contact, without the target ever knowing the fighter was below. The men were exceptional. Crews like Hoffmann trained for 2 years before operational deployment. They understood their aircraft, their radar, their tactics, their airspace with total fluency. Average kills per night fighter ace, 47. Some exceeded 100. The system worked because it controlled the engagement geometry. German fighters chose when to attack. They chose the angle, they chose the range. British bombers could only react, and reaction came too late. From 1940 through 1943, the Luftwaffe night fighter arm owned the night sky over Europe. They dictated terms, they decided losses, until the British decided to reverse the equation. Air Chief Marshal Sir Arthur Harris, commanding RAF Bomber Command, receives the casualty projections for spring 1944. His bomber offensive is succeeding, but the butcher's bill approach is catastrophic. In the Air Ministry, a different conversation begins, not how to defend the bomber streams more effectively, but how to destroy the system killing them. The question is surgical. How do we eliminate German night fighter crews before they reach our bombers? Standard tactics will not work. Bomber Command cannot divert heavy aircraft to hunt fighters. The performance mismatch is absolute. Fighter Command's single-engine types lack the range and endurance. Bomber streams cannot alter routes unpredictably. Navigational requirements and fuel loads mandate predictable approach corridors. The solution requires a weapon that does not yet exist in operational doctrine, not a fighter, not a bomber, something between, something that can reach inside German airspace, find the hunters, kill them in their own domain, and return. Something fast enough to escape pursuit, something that can operate alone. The British already have it. They simply need to use it differently. Enter the de Havilland Mosquito, but not the bomber variant, not the photo reconnaissance model, the night fighter intruder, designated Mosquito NF-MiG-2, modified for what the RAF terms Ranger operations. 2 Rolls-Royce Merlin, 23 engines producing 1,390 horsepower each. Maximum speed, 370 miles per hour at 17,000 feet. Service ceiling, 34,000 feet. Range, 1,860 miles with external tanks. But speed is not the advantage. Dozens of aircraft can reach 370 miles per hour. The advantage is construction. The Mosquito fuselage is laminated wood, birch ply and balsa composite. Wood returns almost no radar reflection. Metal components are minimized. To German ground radar, a Mosquito at altitude presents a signature smaller than a single-engine trainer. It is functionally invisible. Crew. 2. Pilot and radar operator. No defensive armament, no turrets, no gunners. Weight saved becomes speed and fuel. Armament is fixed forward. 4 20mm Hispano cannon, 4.303 Browning machine guns. Convergence point, 300 yards. Against bombers, this is useful. Against fighters, it is devastating. The Mosquito carries its own AI Emiquib airborne interception radar. Effective range, 5 miles for a bomber-sized target. Against a smaller aircraft like a Bf-110, detection drops to 3 miles. But 3 miles is enough, because the Mosquito does something German night fighters cannot. It hunts the hunter. The concept is precise. Mosquito crews penetrate German airspace at altitude, loiter near known night fighter bases, and wait. When a German crew takes off, when they switch on their Liechtenstein radar to search for RAF bombers, the Mosquito's radar operator detects the emission. German radar transmits forward. British radar receives from any angle. The emission is a beacon. The Mosquito follows it, closes from behind. The German crew never knows. Their radar cannot detect the wooden aircraft. Their eyes cannot see the matte black paint in darkness. The Mosquito pilot waits until 300 yards. Visual confirmation of exhausts, a 3-second burst. The German aircraft disintegrates. The Mosquito is already climbing away before the wreckage impacts. But there is a deeper secret, the unfair edge that makes this not just effective, but unstoppable. The British are reading German radio traffic. Not every message, not every frequency, but enough. Intercept stations along the English coast monitor Luftwaffe ground control transmissions. Code breaking at Bletchley Park provides partial decryption of command frequencies. Traffic analysis reveals patterns. British intelligence knows when German night fighter units are at readiness state, and they know which airfields are active on which nights. They know patrol sectors, altitude bands, and return-to-base timings. Mosquito crews receive this before takeoff. The target is not random. The hunt is not speculative. They know where the Germans will be, and there is one more component. German Liechtenstein radar operates on a frequency of 490 MHz. It is powerful, it is effective, and it is detectable. The Mosquito carries a receiver tuned precisely to that frequency. The device is called Serrate. When a German night fighter activates his radar to search for bombers, Serrate alerts the Mosquito crew. Bearing, approximate distance, signal, strength. The German radar designed to find British bombers instead summons British killers. The Luftwaffe built the network. The British weaponized it. Every advantage the Germans possessed, interior lines, ground control, airborne radar, becomes a vulnerability. Radar emissions mark their position. Radio transmissions reveal their movements. Return-to-base procedures create predictable patterns. The Mosquito does not need to search the sky. The Germans tell them exactly where to look. And the Mosquito crews are not ordinary pilots. They are specialists selected from fighter command's most experienced night fighter squadrons. Men who have flown 300 hours in darkness. Men who understand radar interpretation, energy management, and patient stalking. Men like Flight Lieutenant John Cunningham, 85 Squadron, credited with 20 kills before switching to intruder operations. Like Squadron Leader Basil Embry, who has flown Mosquitoes over Germany 48 times. These are not rookies learning on the job. These are experts, hunting experts. The kill sequence is methodical. Step 1. Penetration. The Mosquito crosses into German airspace at 22,000 feet, above effective flak range. Speed 310 miles per hour. Emissions minimal. Navigation by dead reckoning and astrofixes. Radio silence absolute. Step 2. Loiter. The crew reaches the patrol area, typically a 20-mile radius around a known night fighter base. They reduce speed to 240 miles per hour, extend endurance. The pilot flies wide, lazy orbits. The radar operator watches his screen and listens to Serrate. Step 3. Contact. Serrate registers a German radar emission, bearing 285 degrees, signal strength increasing. The radar operator reports. Contact, starboard quarter, 12 miles. Step 4. Intercept geometry. The pilot does not turn directly toward the target. That closes range too quickly, risks visual detection. Instead, he calculates a pursuit curve. Approach from the rear quarter. Match the target's heading. Close speed differential to 20 miles per hour. It takes patience. The intercept may require 12 minutes. Step 5. Radar lock. At 3 miles, the Mosquito's AI radar paints the target. A faint blip on the cathode screen. The operator calls ranges. 2 miles, dead ahead, slightly below. 1 mile, same heading. Half mile, visual range. Step 6. Visual confirmation. The pilot looks through the gun sight. Darkness. Then 2 faint blue points. Exhaust flames from the target's engines. A Bf-110, the German crew, is searching for bombers ahead. They do not look behind. Step 7. Firing position. The pilot adjusts throttles, matches speed exactly. Range is close to 400 yards. 300. He centers the gun sight's illuminated graticule on the target's starboard engine. Step 8. Engagement. The pilot presses the firing button. Cannon and machine guns fire together. Tracers converge. The first shells strike the engine cowling. The second burst walks into the wing root. Fuel ignites. Elapsed time, 2.4 seconds. The Bf-110 rolls left, trailing fire. The Mosquito pilot does not follow. He pulls up, advances, throttles, climbs into darkness. Step 9. Egress. The Mosquito is already 5 miles away before the German aircraft impacts. No radio transmission, no orbit to confirm the kill. The crew returns to patrol altitude and resumes the hunt. Write in the comments the exact moment you believe this battle was already lost for Germany. I want to know when you saw it. 1 aircraft eliminated, average ammunition expenditure, 90 cannon shells. On a productive night, a single Mosquito crew may destroy 3 aircraft. The psychological effect on German crews is immediate and corrosive. Feldwebel Otto Becker, radar operator with 4 NJG3, writes in a letter intercepted by British postal censorship. "We no longer trust our own equipment. Every time Ernst switches on the Liechtenstein, I feel we have painted a target on our tail. Some crews are leaving radar off until they have visual contact with bombers, but without radar we cannot find targets. We are trapped between 2 failures." If you understand what fear does to men who were never supposed to be afraid, share this with someone who needs to hear it. The mathematics reinforce the fear. In January 1944, Luftwaffe night fighter losses to all causes, 42 aircraft. In February, 61. In March, 88. But it is not the numbers alone. It is which crews are dying. Experienced radar operators are irreplaceable. Training requires 14 months. Operational proficiency requires another 6 months of combat sorties. A veteran operator like Keller, killed with Hoffmann, represented 2 years of institutional investment. The British are not simply destroying aircraft, they are erasing knowledge. Pilots begin refusing to activate radar except in extremis. But this destroys effectiveness. Without radar, German night fighters revert to visual search. Useful range, perhaps 800 meters in darkness. British bomber streams are 10 miles wide. The probability of visual contact without radar guidance is less than 7%. Some crews request transfer to day fighter units. Others develop psychosomatic illnesses. Ground crews report pilots hesitating before takeoff, inventing technical discrepancies to delay missions. Morale collapses because the threat is invisible and unavoidable. Flak can be evaded, bombers can be outmaneuvered, but the Mosquito gives no warning. It appears from nowhere, it kills and vanishes. There is no safe space, no sanctuary. Then the British escalate. Mosquito intruders begin attacking German airfields directly, not with bombs, with their cannon, loitering in landing circuits, waiting for night fighters to return from missions. The German pilot is fuel critical, possibly damaged, focused on the approach. His wheels are down, his flaps are extended, his speed is 140 miles per hour. He is committed to landing. The Mosquito strikes during the final approach, from behind, from below, from the darkness beyond the airfield lights. Lieutenant Franz Weber, 7 NJG1, survives such an attack. His aircraft is written off. He describes the experience in a debriefing recorded by Luftwaffe intelligence. "I was on final, 300 meters from threshold. I saw a shadow cross below me, then tracers. My port engine exploded. I crashed short of the runway. My operator was killed. I broke both legs. The aircraft that attacked me was gone before the flak could respond. I never saw it. I only saw the tracers." German airfields institute new procedures, landing lights reduced, approach paths altered nightly, ground radar tracks incoming aircraft continuously. But none of this prevents the attacks because the Mosquito does not need to enter the landing circuit. It waits outside the airfield's defended perimeter. It watches for the German aircraft's navigation lights. It follows them down, 3-second burst, climb away, disappear. Luftwaffe units begin landing with navigation lights extinguished, but this increases landing accidents. In April 1944, German night fighter units lose 19 aircraft to landing mishaps, additional 6 to Mosquito attacks during approach phase. The British have made returning to base more dangerous than the mission. If this moment stayed with you, mark it with a like, not for approval, but in quiet acknowledgement of what those men faced. Some German crews begin diverting to alternate airfields, flying extra distance to avoid predicted mosquito patrol zones. But this burns fuel, increases fatigue, and disperses the defensive network's concentration. Every adaptation creates a new vulnerability. Every defensive measure reduces offensive capability. The Luftwaffe night fighter force is being systemically dismantled. German countermeasures are sophisticated but ultimately futile. Telefunken develops new radar frequencies. Liechtenstein SN2, operating at 90 MHz, is introduced in early 1944. The longer wavelength reduces resolution but is supposed to be undetectable by British receivers. Within 3 weeks, RAF intelligence identifies the new frequency. Modified Serrate sets are in production within 6 weeks. Mosquito crews receive the updated equipment by May. The Germans mandate strict radio discipline. Ground controllers use coded language. Transmission times are minimized. Call signs change daily. But British traffic analysis does not require decryption. The pattern of transmissions, timing, duration, frequency shifts reveals operational activity. Mosquito crews still know when German units are airborne. The Luftwaffe experiments with decoy transmissions, false radar emissions to lure mosquitoes into flak traps. The British ignore transmissions from stationary positions. They target only moving emitters, actual airborne fighters. Some German crews request British-style wooden aircraft to reduce radar signature, but German industry cannot replicate de Havilland's composite techniques. Wooden prototypes crack in operational conditions. The Luftwaffe considers dedicating fighter units to protect night fighter bases, but this requires aircraft, fuel, and pilots from an already overstretched force. And defending one base leaves 20 others exposed. Every German response addresses symptoms, not the cause. The cause is that the British possess 3 interlocking advantages: a radar, invisible aircraft, intelligence on German movements, and the ability to detect German radar from outside its coverage. No German countermeasure can neutralize all 3 simultaneously. The numbers tell the strategic story. Between January and June 1944, RAF Mosquito intruder operations destroyed 257 Luftwaffe night fighters, not in combat with bombers, in their own airspace, on their own terms, but raw numbers understate the impact. Of the 257 aircraft destroyed, 189 were crewed by experienced operators. Average experience, 380 combat hours. Combined total, 71,120 hours of operational expertise removed from German order of battle in 6 months. Replacement training cannot match this loss rate. German night fighter schools produce 140 crews per month, but training hours are reduced from 240 to 180 due to fuel shortages. New crews arrive at operational units with minimal radar experience. In January 1944, average night fighter crew experience 290 hours. By June, 140 hours, effectiveness collapses. In January, German night fighters average 4.2 kills per 100 sorties. By June, 1.8 kills per 100 sorties. The decline is not linear, it is exponential, because experienced crews were force multipliers. They trained new arrivals, they refined tactics, they mentored radar operators. The British are not just killing air crew, they are destroying the Luftwaffe's ability to regenerate capability. And consider the industrial dimension. Each Bf-110 requires 12,000 man-hours to manufacture. Each Ju-88 night fighter, 18,000 man-hours. German industry produces 450 night fighters per month. Mosquito intruder operations destroy 43 aircraft per month, nearly 10% of production. But more critically, they destroy the crews faster than training can replace them. Aircraft are rebuildable. Experienced radar operators are not. By May 1944, German night fighter units begin operating with partially trained crews. Radar operators with fewer than 50 combat hours, pilots with 30 operational sorties. These crews achieve kill rates 1/3 that of their predecessors. The Luftwaffe night fighter force remains numerically strong, but it is hollow. The expertise is gone. This is where the British achievement becomes clear, and where your question finds its answer. The Americans are devastating. 8th Air Force daylight raids destroy German industrial capacity. P-51 Mustangs kill Luftwaffe pilots in enormous numbers. American bomber formations are mathematically unstoppable. Sheer weight of firepower and numbers. But American operations are predictable. The Germans know daylight raids will come. They know approach routes, constrained by fuel range, fighter escort radii, target locations. German units can choose engagement timing. They can decline combat when conditions are unfavorable. They can preserve strength. The American threat is immense but manageable within operational parameters. The Mosquito intruder is different, fundamentally existentially different. It does not announce itself. It does not arrive in formations the Germans can track. It does not follow predictable routes. It does not allow the enemy to choose the engagement. It gives no choice at all. The Mosquito finds German crews in their own airspace, on their own bases, during procedures they have flown 1,000 times. It attacks when they are most vulnerable, during radar search, during landing approach, during refueling on the ground. It follows them home. An American bomber formation is a chess game, predictable moves, calculable risk, strategic decisions. The Germans can plan, they can adapt, they can survive. A Mosquito intruder is an ambush in the dark. No warning, no negotiation, no escape. The American threat forced the Germans to fight harder. The British threat made them fear to fight at all. Consider Strybe's diary entry dated 19th April 1944, recovered post-war. We have lost 11 crews this month, not to bombers, to British intruders. My men are exhausted, they fear their own radar, they hesitate on patrol, they rush landings. I have requested reinforcements 3 times. No reinforcements available. I have requested transfer to daylight operations. Request denied. We are trapped in a war we can no longer win. The Americans broke German industrial capacity. The British broke German will. The Mosquito night intruder did not just destroy aircraft. It rewired German behavior at a neurological level. It taught the hunters to fear the sky. It made German crews distrust their own technology. It transformed their home airspace into enemy territory. In war, there are defeats you can recover from, losses you can replace, battles you can learn from. And then there are defeats that change what you believe is possible. The Mosquito intruder was not a weapon, it was a lesson. It taught the Germans that nowhere was safe, that their advantages could become liabilities, that invisible death could be waiting in the darkness they thought they owned. By June 1944, Luftwaffe night fighter effectiveness had collapsed by 67%, not because the aircraft were destroyed, but because the men flying them no longer believed they could survive. The British did not just win battles in the night sky over Germany. They deleted the word sanctuary from the Luftwaffe's vocabulary. Press the like button if this history moved you. Leave one word of judgment in the comments. What was this? And subscribe, because when we stop telling these stories, the men who lived them die twice. Thank you for watching Britain in Battle.